Hello colouring pals, how's it going? Today we're going to be looking at how to colour a jungle scene. I'm going to be using the picture called Apex Predator from Kirby Roseanne's Alien Worlds. I'm going to be colouring this digitally in Clip Studio Paint, but many of the techniques that I use can be used in any other software, and most of them are transferable into your other colouring mediums like your pencil, crayons and your watercolours. So starting off, we're just going to do the base coat of the main character, the Apex Predator himself. Then we're going to go on with the details, doing darker tones for the shaded parts, and lighter tones for where the light hits it. Moving on to the body, pretty much repeating the same process. A lot of the time when I'm doing digital colouring, I like to use the pencil crayon tool. I think that it gives quite a good texture, especially when you're trying to do something like fur on an Apex Predator. Now that we've got him done, time to go into the environment. Now when you're colouring and drawing and making art, it's not always about the colours that you use. Another important element of making a good picture is thinking about it as a whole piece. Does what you're drawing and colouring make sense? So in this instance, I've noticed that there are lots of flowers and plants that look very similar to the predator's mane and tail. So what I've tried to do here is match those colours as if the predator has evolved in his surroundings. It kind of tells more of a story and gives a bit more depth to the picture. Now, onto all the greenery and foliage, and I'm not going to lie, this took a very long time. At first, I'm just putting a base coat down to map out where all the greenery is going to go. Then I'll do a second run through adding all the details. Now what you want to try and do to make it look as real as possible is don't try and do everything the same colour because it will just be a big blurry mess. Try and use different shades, tones, lightnesses, maybe throw the odd bit of colour for different flowers. If you're struggling on how it should look, you can always just get on Google, search for pictures of forests and jungles, and you'll see that even though all the colours are very similar, they all have slightly different shades and tones, and that's what gives the realism. Now at this stage, I got a little bored of doing all the details, so I wanted to get the base colours down for all the elements in the picture. It's good to mix your process up if you find it getting a little bit tedious. And now that I've got all the base colours down, I can judge the picture as a whole to make sure I'm happy with it. Next, doing the details for the floor. And all I'm doing here is using different tones of green to make some definition in the texture so it doesn't all look flat in one colour. To make it easier, just imagine the light shining from one side, so where would that light hit? And that's where you want to put the lighter shades, and then on the reverse of that, that's where you put the darker shades. And it's exactly the same process for the trees. So in this picture, I'm imagining the light coming from the left hand side. So the left hand side of all the trees have got slightly lighter shades and darker shades on the right. Now for the background behind the trees, I'm not gonna lie, I did cheat a little bit on this one. A lot of the time in digital art software, you have tools that can create shapes. So I picked the tree tool. I went in with different sizes and colours and shades to make it look nice, thick, lush green background. Now onto the finishing touches. I wanted to make some rays of light coming through the canopy. I created a new layer with an overlay blending mode. I drew in the rays of light with a white pen, then lowered the opacity a little bit and erased the bottom end to feather it out. I then added a bit of white mist using another cheeky little tool, and that's pretty much it. What do you think? I don't think it turned out too bad. One of the main things to remember when you colour in a scene like this is make sure to constantly change your tone and shade slightly, rather than just doing it all one block colour. This gives it a more realistic effect. Now if you're interested in watching a slower paced version of this without me whittering on over the background, I'll stick a link in the description for my colour along video of this. Something you can just sit back with, have on in the background whilst you're doing your own colouring. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you in the next one. Be nice, live life. Peace.